Do you ever wonder why you're not hitting your revenue goals in real estate? It's not magic, it's math. My name is Michael Franke with the Niche Community. I've done north of 700 foreclosure deals in my career, and I make these videos to teach you the frameworks, the blueprints to do these deals regularly. In this video, I'm breaking down how to turn your financial goals into real, tangible steps. You'll learn to calculate exactly how many deals you need and then reverse engineer how many calls, texts, door knocks, or direct mail pieces are required to get to that revenue goal. This video is no fluff, it's just teaching you to get results. So let's begin. Before we start breaking down the numbers on your KPIs, I've got to level with you. A lot of you will watch this video, think that these are actionable tips and things that would help your business, but you won't take action on them. Some of this math is basic, some of the logic is basic, but remember, learning equals changed behavior. Don't be the person that watches a YouTube video or reads a book, and then there's the activity at the end of the chapter that helps you implement the ideas into your business. Don't be the person that doesn't do them. Learning equals changed behavior. Take these exercises seriously, actually figure out, this is my revenue goal. This is the amount of deals that I want to make. This is the marketing channel I want to take. And this is the level of activity required in that marketing channel to generate that revenue goal. It is a cycle. You must implement this into your business to have some sort of stability and consistency. As I've said, the first step is to establish what you want your revenue goal to be. All of us are at different phases. Some people, you're looking for your first deal. $100K in your first year would be life-changing. Other people, you're looking for $500,000, $1 million, $5 million and beyond. In this particular video, we're going to use the benchmark of $250,000 for revenue. Why that number? Well, in the niche community, my goal is for every single person to average a deal a month. Industry average for a deal is somewhere around 20,000. 20,000 times 12, 240K. Hey, let's up it a notch, make it 250K. So that's where we're going to start. If you're using a different number, slide your number in. The math is simple. Go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and work backwards. Our revenue target is going to be $250,000. Then we have to work backwards, do the math to figure out how many deals we're going to do. As I said, an industry average for a wholesale deal is around $15,000, but because we're doing niche lists, we're finding sellers in severe motivation, we're able to solve their problems, buy a little deeper. So I'm going to assume on these deals we're making $20,000. Now, many of you will make much, much more per deal, and sometimes you'll make less, but I think $20,000 is a fair blended average. So to figure out how many deals we have to do, we're going to take our $250,000, we're going to divide that by $20,000. That gets you 12.5. Now, that's how many deals you have to do per year. So we're going to divide this by 12. That gives us 12.5. And that's 12.5 deals per year. Okay? After that, we're going to figure out how many deals per month we need to do to hit our revenue target. So we're going to divide that 12.5 by 12 months. I know, this is the smart math class. Take our 12.5 divided by 12. That gives us 1.04. And this is 1.04 deals per month. Now, we're going to go, for all intents and purposes, round this down to 1. It makes sense. So our goal is to do 1 deal per month. Now, if you're a different bracket in terms of your revenue goal, completely fine. Your deals per month is going to be different. But make sure before you move on in this video, you have established how many deals per month that is required to get to your revenue goal. If you need to go back through the math again, please do it. Remember, I was a 9th grade math teacher. It's okay if your math skills aren't up to par. Take your time, get your deals per month before we move on. Sometimes when we start, we establish that revenue number. It's a little bit scary. But when we realize, oh, 250K is just one deal a month. All of a sudden that becomes more palatable, more doable. So now that we've established our deals per month, we need to establish what marketing channel we're going to choose. For those of you that are new, you're going to want to compare yourself to me or other investors in your market to where they have all the marketing channels automated. Don't think that way. I would rather you be good at one than average at a bunch. To put it in a visual that you could understand, let's say that we have a pizza. We all love pizza, right? If you're really focused on one marketing channel, let's call it cold calling. You can give 100% of your focus to cold calling. If you're giving 100% of focus to something, are you going to be bad at first? Probably, but if you give 100% focus over time, you're going to get a lot better. If you then segment your focus, split that pizza in half, all of a sudden you're doing cold calling and SMS, you're having to give 50-50 to each. And all of a sudden, you're not going to be as effective as you once were with just cold calling. And we could take this out to the nth degree. We're splitting this pizza into fourths. We got SMS, we got cold calling, we got door knocking, we got direct mail, kind of the core four. And do you really want to do all of these? Of course you do, when you get more experienced and more stable in your business. But if you're new and you're focusing on 4 different things, you're now 25% in each quadrant, and you're just ineffective now. Your cold calling quality goes down. Your door knocking quality goes down. So unless you're very experienced, you're someone that's making well north of 500K, maybe even north of $1 million already in your real estate business, choose one. Focus on one thing to be excellent at. Once you've automated that thing, it's going well, or you've hired someone to take that responsibility from you, then add something else. But from the beginning, I want you to choose one marketing channel. Now, in this video, of course, I'm going to go through every single marketing channel, the 4 that I just mentioned. We're going to start with cold calling. So we've established, hey, we're going to make $250K per year. We're going to do 1 deal per month. Now we need to work backward with cold calling. How many calls do we need to make per month? And by extension, how many cold calls per week? Now, I've done some research on industry averages of how many cold calls it takes to get a deal. Now, we have different types of cold calling. We have cold calling from a cell phone. We have a cold calling from a power dialer. Each one gets different responses. Each one has different deliverability rates. So we're going to compare both. The first one is from your cell phone. Generally, you're going to get a higher deliverability rate from a cell phone. One, it has your caller ID up top. It's not going to appear as spam. It's not going to be flagged, so it's going to go through more. People are going to answer at a higher rate. If you take industry averages, you're going to be somewhere between 250 and 750 cold calls on a cell phone to get a deal. Now, this number is going to differ depending on your skill level. For example, I will link below a YouTube video where I cold called on a cell phone to see how long it would take me to get an appointment. It took me 61 minutes, somewhere between 25 and 30 cold calls on a cell phone. So if you're an expert, it's going to take way less. If you're a newbie, it's going to take way more. But I'm going to use the blended average of 500 cell phone calls to get a deal. Now, if we know that it takes 500 cold calls on a cell phone to get a deal, let's break down the activities required to get a deal. If you want to work on a weekly basis, we've got to figure out how many cold calls you're going to make per week. So there's 4 weeks in a month. Let's take that 500 divided by 4. For you guys in the smart math class, that's going to be 125 cold calls a week. Then you're going to divide that 125 by how many sessions you're going to have per week. If you're full-time, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 6. If you are a W-2 worker, maybe you only have 3 sessions per week. But in this example, we're going to take 5 sessions per week. So if you take that 125 on your calculator, divided by 5 sessions, that's going to be 25 calls per day. Now, that number should not scare you. All of a sudden, we've gone from, hey, I'm making this otherworldly $250K. I've never made that before. But then I broke down, oh, that's only one deal a month. That's not so bad. I've chosen cold calling on a cell phone as my marketing strategy. I've broken it down to the weekly activities required. That's only 25 calls a day. That's not so bad. Guys, you're going from a W-2 that you work 40, 60, 80 hours a week to get what you make, or you can make way more than you've ever made for 25 calls per day. Okay, now that we've gone ahead and figured out how many cold calls on a cell phone you need to make to be able to hit your revenue goal, we're going to go ahead and figure out how many calls it takes on a dialer. Now, on a dialer, it's going to take more calls because your calls aren't going to get through. It just takes more calls on there. So as an industry average, it's going to take around 1,500 calls. So more calls, but they're not as much effort because of your auto dialer doing it for you. Now, let's do the same exercise. We're going to take our 1,500. We're going to divide that by 4. That gives us 375 calls per week. And then we're going to take those and divide it by the amount of sessions we're doing. In this example, I'm going to use 5. So 375 divided by 5 is 75 calls per day. So again, you're going to have to do a little bit more effort than cold calling on the phone. But again, you're not wasting as much time in between calls. So if you're doing cold calling, hey, it's going to take 75 cold calls per day on a dialer to make $250K a year. Not bad. Now, if you're a cold caller, I think it's wise to watch the other 3 marketing methods. In the future, you'll want to delegate this to a team member or do it yourself. So go ahead and stick around. So now that we've figured out cold call, we're going to move on to the almighty door knock. Those of you that have followed me for long, you know that I prefer door knocking the most, not because it's the easiest or the most fun or you can do the most of it, but because you get the most information. You can go to the house, you can see it, you can talk to the seller, you can leave marketing, you can see if it's vacant, you can talk to all the neighbors. Then you can take what you find and go do some of the other activities we're going to be talking about today. So as an industry average, it takes about 100 door knocks to get a deal. These are 100 unique properties, and it does not include follow-up knocks on the properties. So we're going to use 100 knocks as the baseline to get one deal. Is a master going to take 100 door knocks to get a deal? No. Is a newbie going to perhaps require more than 100? Yes, but this is a blended average that I feel good about. So again, if our goal is to make $250K, we want to get one deal a month, we're going to have to knock 100 deals within that month. Hey, let's divide that by 4. That's how many weeks we have in the month. I know, the smart math class, we're going to have to do 25 knocks per week. And then if we break that down by how many sessions we have, maybe you're not doing 5 sessions. Maybe you decide to do 3 knocking sessions a week. 5 knocking sessions a week is kind of a lot, right? So let's make it 3. Maybe you're doing a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to divide that by 3. Hey, 25 divided by 3, 8 1/3. So we're just going to round to 9 because we're always trying to do a little bit more. So 9 knocks per day. All of a sudden, guys, we have gone from $250K. We've worked back that 100 knocks is one deal. That leads to 25 knocks a week or 9 knocks per session. Guys, this is not bad. Again, as I said in the beginning, real estate is math. We just have to work backwards from our goal to our marketing method to how many of those marketing methods we need to do to get a deal. Boom, 9 knocks per day yields $250K per year. Hey, next we're going to move to SMS. SMS is perhaps the most popular technique out there. Because of that, there's more people doing it than any other marketing method. So again, just like cold calling, we have messages that you can do on your phone that are perhaps more customizable. You put more personality into it. You're going to have to do less on here than perhaps a service where you're sending out bulk text messages. So we're going to start with manual text messages first. And remember, we're not sending out to bulk list. We're sending out to niche list with these numbers: pre-foreclosures, probate, eviction, divorce. So you're going to have lower numbers for these deals than perhaps just broad list. So back to manual SMS to get a deal. By my numbers over the years, it takes somewhere around 500 manual texts. Okay, for some of you it will be more, some of you will be less, but let's use the number 500. Okay, and that's 500 texts to get a deal. We're going to do the same math, same song, same dance. We're going to divide that by 4. Again, that's 125. And that's 125 texts per week. And then we're going to take that down to texts per day. So we're going to do 5 sessions per week on this one, divided by 5. 125 divided by 5 is going to be 25 texts per day. So again, to make $250,000, all we've got to do is take a couple minutes each on our texts, 25 texts a day. Guys, that's only an hour, 2 hours worth of work and consistency to get a business that's beyond your wildest dreams. That's your goal revenue. There's no excuses not to do this. Now, we're going to move on to texting with a auto-texting service. Now, to do this, you're going to have to send out a lot more texts. Excuse me while I clean the old whiteboard. Makes me feel like a teacher again. Like I said, it's going to take a lot more with power texting. If you do power texting, it's going to be somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 texts. Why is it so much more? 1, you're probably not getting as much personalization. 2, you have to have opt-out language. It just makes it look spammy, makes it look like a robot. People want to answer real people they know, like, and trust. They're not going to answer as much. Okay, so we're going to take the blended average of 3,000 texts. And we're going to do the same math. We're going to take that 3,000 texts per month to get a deal. We're going to divide that by 4. For those of you in the smart math class, you don't need to use the calculator. 3,000 divided by 4 is 750 texts per week. Not so bad. Again, you're just pushing a space bar a bunch of times. And we're going to take this by 5 sessions a week. 750 texts a week divided by 5 is 150 texts per day. Okay, so we have to do roughly 6 times the amount of texts to get a deal. That's okay. It's less effort for each one of those texts. It averages out. And then you can realize, hey, no matter what I'm doing, manual text, I'm doing automated text, I know my numbers. I know the stuff that I have to commit to per day to get to my revenue target. We've got 2 more marketing methods to cover today. The next is the great direct mail. Okay, direct mail has, of course, gotten a little bit more saturated over the years just because there's so many more people doing it. There's a lot of services that provide this for you in an automated fashion, but there's not so many people that are sending to niche lists consistently. So on average anymore, to get a deal to broad list, you're going to be somewhere between 6,000 and 15,000 direct mail pieces, depending on the quality of the mail piece, the quality of your copy. For niche list, it's going to be somewhere around 4,000 letters or postcards per deal. Again, some more, some less, but I found this to be my number. So a little bit less than broad list, but still a pretty good number. A little bit more money to get into this one as well. So we're going to take the average of 4,000 pieces to get a deal. Now, if we're going to be consistent, we got to take our 4,000, we got to divide that by 4. That's how many weeks in the month. 4,000 divided by 4 is 1,000 pieces per week. And it's going to take you a little while to get this many data points in your marketing. But if you are consistent with this, direct mail pays. It's an awareness thing. It's also an authority thing. People see you in their mail, they trust you, they think you're more reliable. Now, we're not actually going to break direct mail down to more than pieces per week. Sending these out per day would be pretty terrible. You're probably going to want to automate this with something like Yellow's Letters HQ, or in the future, we will have niche CRM that automates direct mail for you, which will be super sick. But if you can commit to 1,000 pieces per week, that's going to give you a deal. What does that cost, though? 1,000 pieces per week. Now, you could spend 50 cents or so on a decent piece of a mail, a postcard, let's say. If you want to send a letter, something like that, it's going to be more like $1 per piece. So you're going to be spending somewhere in the ballpark of $500 to $1,000 per week. Now, this is a little bit more of an expensive method, right? So that could deter you, that could scare you off if you're newer, but also realize because it's more expensive, less people are doing it. Therefore, you might get a decent response rate. But it's going to take consistency with this. You're not going to get a whole lot of responses in your first 1,000 pieces. Again, might take 4,000 pieces to get a deal, if not more. So you got to be consistent week after week after week after week. Then maybe you don't get a deal for 6, 7, 8 weeks, but then you spent, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on direct mail. You get a deal that makes you 50. 10x return, boom. So if you want to do direct mail, this is more of a sit it and forget it. Then you have inbound coming in, answer the phone, a little bit more motivated lead that is a little bit easier to qualify and go set an appointment. So direct mail, super, super good method, but you got to be consistent. Now, last but not least, we have the great email. So guys, this is one of those ones that's kind of overlooked. In skip tracing that we provide to our niche community members, we provide verified emails. This is a type of marketing method that not as many people are doing. Because of that, you have more eyeballs that are unique to your marketing, and it can get you more deals because of it. Some of our best deals ever have been from basic emails that weren't impressive copy. They weren't interesting, to say the least. It's just that person wants to look at email. Mine was the only one to come through. Bang. There you have it. So an industry average for email is going to be somewhere in the 500 unique emails per deal. Okay? I want to have these emails be super unique to the person you're sending it to. It should have their name. It should have their address, maybe even a little blurb on their situation. Maybe they're in a probate situation. Maybe someone passed away. Maybe they're going through a divorce. Is it difficult to come up with unique emails? Yes, it's a lot more work, but ChatGPT is your friend. You can actually come up with different situations and prompt engineer your way to having an email for basically every situation. Then, with each situation, you can have a drip sequence and cadence that reflects their situation. It's going to make it much better of a response rate if you take the upfront work, make it unique to that seller, send out those individual messages. So again, with email, if you're going to send a unique message, only takes about 500 emails per deal. Not so bad. Last time we're going to do it. Hopefully you're getting the trend by now. We're going to divide this by 4. That's how many weeks are in a month. 500 divided by 4 is 125. 125 emails per week. You're going to take that 125. We're going to have 5 sessions per week divided by 5. That's only 25 emails per day. not so bad. All right, now you've got the framework. You know how to take your revenue goal. You know then how to break it down into what marketing channel you want. Break that marketing channel into how many activities it requires to get a deal. Then break that down into monthly and weekly and even daily actions. Here's the deal. None of this matters if you don't take action on it. Like I said earlier in the video, learning equals changed behavior. Take this information, implement it into your business. So here's my challenge to you. Write down your revenue goal. Calculate your marketing numbers. So here's my challenge to you. Write down your revenue goal. Calculate your marketing numbers. Commit to doing those marketing numbers every single day. Start it today. Don't wait. If you want additional help with your real estate business, more tips like this, more tools, your data, your CRM, etc., to go ahead and push your business forward years, the niche community has all these tools for you. It's full of community members that have done thousands and thousands of foreclosure deals. There's nothing better to being able to connect with other people just like you wanting to serve these sellers. So if this video has brought you any value, like, comment, subscribe, and better than that, if you know someone that needs clarity in their real estate business, share this video with them so they can back their way into the activities they need to do to hit their revenue goals. See you on the next one.